All right, today is December 18th and it is rather chilly out, but the last few days we had quite a warm spell going on. All the other hives have activity and this has nothing. So we're going to get into this just to see what's going on. So let me get my tripod all set up and last year we noticed that this hive had quite a bit of varroa going on, so we think that just might have got to them this year. So we're gonna go in, see if there's any life in there whatsoever, and if there's not, we're gonna take it in the garage, dismantle the hive, and then check the bees, see if that's what happened. So we'll just raise this up.
We had a lot of house renovations going on this summer. All of the hives were neglected to a degree with varroa treatments, and we were trying to play catch up in the fall, which is honestly too late. This hive has a habit of getting into some serious trouble in the fall with varroa overload and mite bomb, and there's no activity going on in there. A ladybug. We don't want to leave it set all winter long if we can avoid it, because the wax moths will take over and it'll just make a mess of it. So if we at least disassemble it now, do an autopsy, figure out what was going on with it, and then get the frames frozen, we can at least use them again in the spring. If we let it go, it's just going to be a mess to clean.
I mean, they definitely didn't starve. All I smell is honey, so the only thing we can think of is possibly the varroa, which, if any of you have bees and had them for any certain amount of time, you know how bad the
mite counts can go up like crazy in the fall. You can be looking at a hive in August that looks just fine, and by end of September they can just be overrun.
All right, we're gonna get this box off of here and then look down in.
Nothing. Very little bees in the bottom. I would guess that they absconded. When a hive gets overrun, what they can do is the queen and some of the other bees will fly off. But there are bees, dead bees in here, but nowhere near what you would think you would see in a colony in fall. And that's exactly, based on what I'm seeing, what I think the case was. So we'll get inside, we'll open up a couple of the brood frames and take a look. I don't see any sign of the queen in the bottom.
So yeah, that's one hive down, and it really isn't hardly winter yet. So we're gonna get this in the garage and then pop it apart and then see what we can do with it. All right, so here we are in the garage. We have everything all tore apart, and the girlfriend noticed a large amount of varroa down in the bottom board here. You're probably not going to be able to see it, but yeah, it's there. So maybe we didn't get to this one in time. Last year we had an issue with varroa on this hive as well. So we're going to get some of these frames pulled and just check them out. All right, so we started pulling frames out of the top box, and they're still packed. These are all deeps. So, I mean, there's quite a bit of honey left over. So we're still gonna go through everything, but we're also gonna go through the brood box and then see what happened there.
you working on? Number 2?
When you're on.
Okay.
Got a bunch of honey in that, and then the back side
is honey and nectar. And a lot of times what looks like, we were back feeding this hive late in the season. So a lot of this that's technically uncapped nectar, quote unquote, could actually be sugar syrup that they were storing. Based on what my mentor has said, it's quite often the case where if they're packing 2 to 1, they won't cap it immediately. They'll just let it go. So we're gonna get in here and see what's going on. And that was frame number 2. Number 1, they don't really have drawn out. We're gonna just get it out of the way. A very little honey on it. Frame number 3, again,
same as before.
and you can see where the honey bridge is on the other side. This would have originally been brood area, and as the queen slowed down in laying, they would have started to backfill that, but in this case, it looks like they just absconded rather than backfill due to unknown reasons, because we've got a lot of pollen in there. There is some mold on this one, as you can see on the cappings, which is normal for a hive that that's not in good health. 0 signs of brood on this frame, and this would have been where the heat of the hive was, so the moisture and humidity would have been higher here, which would have led to mold on the wax cappings, which is not uncommon. This one we do have some brood on, it looks like maybe, so we can go digging into here, and we're going to set it aside for just a moment, Justin, because I do want to uncap that brood that's on that one and this one as well.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of brood on the back side too, not much.
And again, we've got like next to no bees on any of these frames. Very little cap brood. They did consume a fair amount of the honey that was on here towards the center where they would have been clustering. But our temperatures have been very weird this year for Pennsylvania. And you can see very clearly on this frame where the brood area was, and then they would have packed around it with nectar and pollen. Unseasonably warm for us this year, so the bees are a lot more active than they would have been in prior years. We're gonna go through this. So we're gonna uncap a couple of these. I don't know whether they died just from varroa in the cells. I'll try and get a larger area open, see what we're looking at. And there's a varroa right there. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Probably not. It doesn't have autofocus. I can see it.
And there's another one right there. There's another one right there. I'm gonna say they just flat out got overrun with varroa. So it looks like there might be another one right there. No. There's 2 actually inside of that cell. I don't know if you guys can see those. So, yeah, I'm gonna call it varroa infestation. I'm not seeing any signs of anything else. There's no signs of chalk brood. There's no signs of foul brood, American or European. The hive smells perfectly fine. We've got some very, very minor mold on top of these, but that's normal for it sitting by itself. So we're gonna scrape out the rest of the the rest of the dead brood. We're gonna pop them in the freezer, and that's where they're gonna stay until spring. And then they can go on top of another hive. They will clean them out and they'll be ready for reuse. So it is what it is. That hive wasn't looking real great the last couple times that we treated them with oxalic acid. There were a ton of Varroa dropping. So we have learned some things lately from Randy Oliver's latest podcast on oxalic acid vaporization treatments, and the schedule should be every 4 days, and it takes about a 30-day cycle of treatments every 4 days to drop Varroa counts to within a manageable range, which is a lot more than you would think. That's not something that they teach a lot, especially in the beginners classes. And it really just means you've constantly got to be doing research, following the latest data, and making changes to your Varroa management strategy as things go along, particularly in the early fall when the bees are starting to lay winter bees. Things can go downhill very quickly. So that's it for today, guys. Justin, anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it. Okay. So we're down to 4 hives now.
Yep.
So hopefully they last the rest of the winter. I'll do a video update now and again on them during January and February when you have them rare warm days. We'll go in there, check real fast, give them pollen patties if necessary. So that'll at least be in the cards for the future videos. So any questions or comments, let us know down below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, give a like, and thanks for watching.